Welcome, everyone. I'm Stephen Garvey, founder and leader of National Citizens Alliance, and today I have a special presentation on good versus evil, non-career politician versus career politician, non-establishment versus establishment, nationalist versus globalist, truth versus lies. So we're going to focus on all these issues and wrap it into what's going on in the federal political scene. I'm going to focus on four different issues today, and I'm going to give you the facts. And that's the primary focus of today, is to give you the facts to allow you to make the best decision. And there's so much misinformation, spins, and lies every day in the establishment media by establishment career politicians. These career politicians, they specialize in deceiving. They specialize in lying. They specialize in telling the Canadian people what they want to hear, or at least what they think they want to hear. And then once they get into power, they do something else. And we can see this. Today, I'm going to expose this. And our focus is going to be on the NCA versus Bernie. And we're going to look at four different policies. They're going to be, the first one is on dishonest money, immigration, political Islam, and non-career politician, non-establishment versus career politician, establishment. We're going to give you the facts. You will be able to see that all the spins coming from Bernie, and then you can extrapolate to the establishment conservatives, the establishment liberals, the NDP, the Greens. It's all the same. So even though this is focused on a comparison to Bernie, you can apply it to those other entities, those establishment entities. And it's hopefully this will be enlightening to everyone, but you have to see beyond the deception. You have to see beyond the lies. Otherwise, you are being manipulated. Your families, your children's future is based on deception and lies then. You can't make the best decision for your family. And the National Citizens Alliance, we are all about honesty, integrity, and telling the Canadian people the truth so they can make the best decisions. We believe in government of, by, and for the people. When you're in government, it should be in service of the people. It should be about the people. It should be never about the people serving the Canadian people like we have today. It should never be top-down dictatorial governance based on deception and lies like we have in Canada. This is something we want to overturn. We are true grassroots, the National Citizens Alliance. We have no strings attached, no strings whatsoever. And that gives us the voice that we have. But there's so much lies and deception out there and spins. Like I said, these career politicians specialize in deception. They specialize in lying to the Canadian people. So we need to cut through that. And today we're going to do that. So I'm going to start with dishonest money. In our opinion, this is at the pinnacle of the corruption and the abuse of the Canadian people, taking advantage of the Canadian people. And I got a slide here I'm going to bring up. So this is called dishonest currency. And we call it good versus evil, nationalist versus globalist. So we're going to look at what the NCA stands for, Garvey. And then we're going to look at what the Berne stands for when it comes to dishonest currency. And I'll just give you a little basic background on dishonest currency. In 1972, Pierre Trudeau, shifted the public lending right of the Bank of Canada to the central banks. These central banks now print our money. And they charge compound interest as soon as they print it. As soon as they print money, it is inflation on you and your family. It means the Canadian currency is devalued, and you're paying more for goods and services as Canadian families. Another thing is, as a country nationally, we owe over $64 billion in debt service payments to banks, including these central banks. Another key point is that this currency is just paper. It just has ones and zeros on it. It's called a fiat currency. And fiat currency means fake currency. It's not backed by any wealth, like silver, gold, and other precious commodities. It's not backed. That's why it's called fiat, and that's why the system we have today is susceptible to a major crash. So we want to deal with this issue. It is enslaving the Canadian people. And one thing we want to do, we want to return to the true Bank of Canada, which is post 1972, and print currency at 0% interest, thereby giving the currency a true value. That currency will have a true value through the hard work and sweat brow of Canadians, through our resources, through whatever value we produce will be part of that currency. Right now, it's just printed and does not have true value. In the long term, we want to get government out of the business of printing currency. That's our long-term goal, but we need to do gradual steps towards it. Another thing we want to do in our policy is end the annual $30 billion plus federal debt service payments to central banks and the government. And please remember that these central banks are the government. They are intertwined with the government. In 1972, the public lending right shifted to the central banks, but the government is entwined with it. So we're talking about government through the central banks. And if I go back here to this policy, if we look at Berne, and now we compare it to Berne, this guy who's a bankster lawyer, he has no policy on the dishonest currency. And he will not talk about his banker friends. So there you got the true comparison then. Good versus evil. We view the dishonest currency as evil, and anyone who's supporting it is evil. And this Berne guy has nothing. Just as those other crony establishment parties in Ottawa have nothing either. I'm going to shift now. I'm going to shift to immigration. We are facing major issues when it comes to immigration. And we have talked about it quite a bit. And there's a lot of misinformation. People like Berne spin that he wants to protect Canadian identity, while at the same time he supports mass immigration, which is a complete contradiction. Right now, Canada is being invaded through mass immigration. We are losing our culture, our identity, our heritage. Euro Canadians who founded our country are reducing significantly every year in terms of total population. We believe we're under 70% now. And, in just a matter of 20, 30 years, we will be even less. We will be a minority. And this is something we don't support, the NCA. We believe that Euro Canadians should be the majority, even super majority of Canada's total population. Euro Canadians founded, created Canada. Why would we replace the people who founded, created Canada? And by doing so, we will replace the values and everything they stood for. So we stand steadfast in opposition to the mass immigration agenda. So let's look at the facts here. Let's see what's going on here. So again, immigration, good, remember, good versus evil, nationalists versus globalists. So the National Citizens Alliance, we want a temporary pause in immigration. Right now, there's 11-year backlog. We want a temporary pause to get this immigration mess in order. Secondly, we want a 50,000 or less per year in immigration, including refugees, illegal migrants, chain migration. Coupled with the fact that we want to encourage, through tax incentives, traditional families to have larger families. And we will create the financial incentives for that. We do not support the organized replacement of Canada's traditional populations like what the establishment parties in Bernay support. Third, we want to dismantle the temporary foreign worker program. This is a very corrupt, abused program that hurts Canadian workers. Foreign workers are brought in here and they're undercutting the Canadian worker, which is causing unemployment and stress in Canadian families. We want to end that abused program right away. Fourth, we want to deport all illegals coming across the U.S. border into Canada. We have a zero tolerance policy for illegal migrants. We will step up border security. We will not accept a single asylum case from the U.S. And we will amend the Safe Third Country agreement with the U.S. to that effect. Fifth, we believe that immigration must be driven by the best interest of the Canadian people. That is fundamental. The National Citizens Alliance believes that the Canadian people must come first. We reject the global world order. We reject putting immigrants before our own people. And six, we believe that mass immigration, like we have now currently, is not good for the economy. It's hurting the economy. It's hurting our environment. It's hurting our society. We reject the mass immigration agenda outright. And if I contrast this to Bernay, there's no temporary pause. He does not support a temporary pause in immigration. He supports mass immigration of 250,000 plus a year, not including refugees, illegal migrants, chain migration. He says that he supports the immigration numbers of Harper, which were at historic levels. Bernay supports the temporary foreign worker program. He wants to bring in these low paying foreign workers, which are undercutting our own workers. He supports more border security, but he says nothing about dealing with illegal migrants in terms of deportation. Bernays, just like the other establishment parties, believes that immigration should be driven by economic rather than the best interests of the Canadian people. Further, he believes that mass immigration is good for the Canadian economy. So we're completely on different sides of the fence here, everyone. You can see it right there. And I want to take this down here. Bernays goes out of the way to say that he supports the mass immigration of Harper. And let's look at the Harper regime immigration. It was at historic mass immigration. From 2005 to 2015, Harper let in just under 3 million immigrants. 2,828,365 immigrants during that time. That was an average of over 282,000 a year. That's what you will get under Bernays. It'll be just the same. In 2014, Harper let in over 260,000. In 2015, he let in over 271,000. As you can see, nothing will change under Bernays. This is just all spins and lies. But these are the facts right here, everyone. Look at them. I'm going to shift now. To political Islam. And this is something the National Citizens Alliance takes very seriously. We view political Islam, which is connected to mass immigration, to be a serious threat in Canada. And this is how we will deal with it. We want a ban on the practice of political Islam. We support ideological screening of immigrants. And that means we don't want immigrants coming here with values and beliefs that are inconsistent with our civil rights and liberties. And we will screen immigrants. We want no foreign funding of mosques. We will list the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization as well. If we compare this to Bernays, there's no mention of political Islam at all in his policies. He doesn't even talk about it. And he's been quoted as saying he supports immigrants from all religions and faiths. So again, you have a clear choice here. And his view is pretty much consistent with the other establishment parties. So you can see there's a clear division there between choosing NCA versus choosing Bernays and the other establishment parties. And now I'm going to shift today to our last point. And this is on non-career, non-establishment versus career politicians, establishment politician. And we will look at the facts. And I should mention, I think everyone needs to know this. The 3 C's of conservatism you don't want. Crony, corrupt, career politicians. The 3 C's of conservatism you don't want. Crony, corrupt, career politicians. Please remember that. And I'm just going to look at my background. And then we'll compare it to Bernie. Okay, my background. I'm non-career politician. I worked as an author in the nonprofit sector, small business sector, and public service sectors. I'm truly non-establishment. I have never been a member of any of the establishment parties, and by my own choice. Myself and the NCA, we have limited media access, and we face real attacks by the media. They call us all kinds um, um, of harmful words, inaccurate words, false misrepresentation, like anti-immigrant. They call us far right. They call us controversial immigration. They even call us radical. All this stuff. That's what we face. If we look at Bernie, this guy is a textbook career politician. He spent 10 years in the Harper regime. This guy, Bernie, is also 100% establishment. His father was an MP in 1984. Bernie is a banker's lawyer. Within 1 year as MP in the Harper regime, he became a cabinet minister. Bernie is the establishment. Please remember that. He tries to spin that he's non-establishment, but this guy is prototypical establishment. Further, Bernie has full media access and he faces fake softball attacks while the NCA is vilified. So we're dealing with a non-career politician versus career politician. And the facts tell you that. So please consider what we shared today. These are facts. Share this message today. And please remember, everyone, if you choose the lesser of the two evils, and in this case, the lesser of the 5 evils in Ottawa right now, it is still evil. If you choose the road less traveled, you are choosing true change and the hope tied to it. If you choose evil, whether it's less or more, it is still evil. And that is the same status quo. No change. Business as usual. If you are unhappy with the status quo, we call on you to join the NCA, join National Citizens Alliance, become a paid member, run in 2019 so we can drain the career politicians from Ottawa and replace them with Canadians who put our people first. It's as simple as that. Either you support evil or you do not support evil. And please review these facts today. And please visit our website, nationalcitizensalliance.ca. With the support of the Canadian people, the sky is the limit for what we can achieve. Remember, we are non-establishment. We are non-career politicians. We believe in putting our people first, our country first. The country is in crisis right now. We've been overrun by globalist sellouts in Ottawa who lie and deceive to you, the Canadian people. We are losing our country and time is short. Please join the NCA, and I want to wish everyone a great weekend, and thank you for joining me today.